Hey everyone! Okay, today we're talking automation. And I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking online something or other, some kind of program. I'm not talking about anything that a computer is going to do for you. Or actually, there might be certain programs that you can use to help yourself with this. But essentially, what I'm talking about is automating your people. So, if you've noticed in my last few videos, I'm talking a lot about letting stuff go. You need to have other people, excuse me, I'm almost dropping stuff. You need to have other people doing things in your business instead of you doing it all. Because we all got, I say we all, I don't want to say we all, but a lot of us got into business because we wanted the freedom to live our lives the way we want. But if you become a slave to your business because you won't let go of anything, because you won't hire employees because, X, Y, and Z, you hire employees, but you don't trust them to do half the stuff that you should be giving away, then you're just a slave to your business. You're no more free than you were, and you're cutting yourself, cutting off your potential. But you need to have employees. You need to be letting go of things. You need to be doing, having them do things. And then the way to protect yourself, I guess you could say, the way to really handle it all once you've given everything away to a bunch of people to make sure that it's all getting done is through automation. So what am I talking about? These are my four cornerstones of automation when you need to automate teams. So the first one I'm going to talk about is leadership. So you need to have it. If you start, teams, if you have a group of people that's, four or, even three, like 3, 4, 5, you can have somebody who oversees that group. Okay. So you can put someone in charge. And then that, gives a little bit of layering to the accountability in the business. Then it's not like you going to the whole group and saying, okay, this didn't get done. Why? And they're all like, well, now you have somebody who's in charge to make sure that these things get done. And all you have to do is go to that one person and say, hey, why didn't this get done? And then you have another layer of somebody making sure, rather than having 5 people who all are like looking at each other like, what was I supposed to do that? Weren't you going to do that? Then you have somebody who makes sure that it gets done. And, and it may take some learning to get there. But leadership is part of your automation. They're the ones that are making sure all the little stuff in that group of people, and you call it a department. It may not be a department. It might be a subsect of a department. But they're going to make sure that all the little stuff gets done. So leadership is one way that you automate people. Meetings is another. And I am not talking about that waste of time. Like when people have those waste of time bitch sessions for an hour, that is not a meeting. That's just a bitch session. And that is a complete waste of time. Not to mention it's not good for your energy. It's a waste of your energy. It's just crap. If you need to vent, save it for like happy hour over a cocktail and get it over with. But don't waste your business, your company time, complaining about all the problems that you're having with your employees. You need to be tackling, every meeting, everyone should be walking in, knowing what you've talked about the previous week, knowing what they should have been, what deadlines have come and gone, or what, they're in the process of working on. Everyone should know what they're already having to talk about when they get there, and you need to be going through the process one by one by one by one. Now, there's all kinds of methods to running meetings. You have to figure out what really works for you. And the best thing that I can do, and I know I've preached, or at least I don't know if I've released this video, but educating yourself is really the critical element to you figuring out what works best for you. Because I've learned so many different meeting styles, and they all worked for somebody, but they're not all the same. So, for somebody to say, this is how you do meetings, they can't say that, You need to figure out what works best for you. So educate yourself, start learning about different meeting styles, and then figure out the one that really works best for you. For me, it was, some of them get super structured, and, for me, it was basically like, we come to the table, here's the numbers, are we on track, are we off track? Where are the problems, that people are having, or where are the problems that you need help with? Let's talk about it as a group. Only ever really talk at any length about something that involves everybody sitting in the meeting. If it's only about, 2 people in the meeting, then they need to take that offline to, once you guys are done with the meeting, they can go talk to each other for, 5-10 minutes and figure out whatever that problem is. But I really used meetings, and this was because we were a growing company, but I used it to troubleshoot issues. Where, leadership obviously needed to resolve something and maybe they were having some kind of a hang up or whatever the case may be. Or if it's just about, certain tasks that need to get done, if we were having big projects, if we need to, just to get us in line so that we are all on the same page. We all know what each other is doing. We are giving each other backup if needed. And so, we'd always come and say, okay, this is what we talked about last time. Did this, all get done? Yes, no, where are we at? What are the issues? Blah, blah, blah. Here's the new issues that have come up. Who's going to take care of this? Who's going to tackle this? Blah, blah, blah. Assigning stuff. Here's deadlines. All right, let's go. See you guys next time. And that's how that's how I feel it should be. And that works really well for me. It doesn't work really well for everybody. But meetings are essential. If you're not having meetings, you need to be having them and figuring out how to run them. Again, do not make them waste of time bitch sessions. You need to be having productive meetings with people that you need. If you're a business owner and you have a decent sized business at this point, or you have if you have leadership, if you've gotten to the point where you have more than just a couple, employees and you have leadership, then you as the business owner should probably only be really having meetings with leadership, at least on a really regular basis, weekly or monthly or whatever. You might have quarterly meetings or something like that with the whole team. But it all depends on your level of your business size. So reports. Reports are a huge part of automating your business. You want to know what's going on in your business. Even daily reports, I would absolutely recommend having, how much, especially your numbers. You should absolutely be getting a daily report on your numbers, on your accounting. So that should be something that's coming through. Reports, a big note about reports, again, letting things go. You need to know what information you want and how you want it given to you, but you don't need to actually make the report unless you are such a control freak that you really need to, you want it to look a certain way, then fine, do it. But I would have the people that I'm assigning it to actually make it. And I would tell them what I want. I've had people who are like, oh, I want a report on this. They have no clue what they're looking for. You give it to them, they're like, nah, that's not what I wanted. Well, really, what did you want? Communication. I'll tell you, I preach all day about communication. It's brutal. But yes, reporting is a way to automate your employees so that you're not having to breathe down their necks. You just get to look at all the data. And obviously having, my last step is, oh no, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm going to make this 5 because this is part of the systems. You need to have what I would call, so I'm going to call this the 5-step process. You need to have, I'm blanking out on, I'm blanking out on the word that I need right now, but basically it's like layers of protection. So there are certain departments where you're going to have fewer layers because it's not as important, but really critical stuff, you basically want to have redundancies. That's the word I'm looking for. You want to have redundancies on certain tasks. Basically, that means that it's not just one person. It's very easy, and I think we all understand this, is that when you're looking at something, especially when it's a lot of data, that when you're the one working on it or you're the one putting it together, it's almost impossible to find the errors yourself. Like, you have to give it to somebody else to look through it because you can't see it because you're in it too much. So having those redundancies, which means more layers of people checking through it, you need to have those in place. That's a major system. It's really important, especially with your money. Now, you have to take the risk. You have to give this stuff away, but you also need those layers of protection where, depending on how important it is or how critical it is, having multiple people taking a look at something. So that way that everything, not only is the data correct, but then obviously, somebody's less likely to try to finagle anything. If you're talking about finances, you're less likely to deal with theft if you have multiple people looking at something on a regular basis. So like checking all the information, okay? But the last thing that I wanted to talk about was employee reviews. I see small business owners fail on this miserably, like all the time. I don't know enough small business owners who are doing reviews of their employees. reviews are critical for the employees and for yourself. Like, you need to step back and go, are they doing a good job? Am I compensating them fairly? And I mean, I understand that you get caught up in it. I'm guilty. Like, I've been there. Like, I had, somebody in my department, so I'm responsible for their review. And we hit the 1 year mark, and like, totally flew right over my head. But they're really, really important that you are having reviews. And I recommend 6-month reviews, not year reviews. If it's a whole year before you're sitting down and having a conversation about your employees' performance, that's so much can happen in a year. If you can get it up to 3 months, that would be ideal. But at least I recommend every 6 months, because you really need to have those conversations. You need to be aware of how your employees are doing, and they need to be aware. They need the positive reinforcement. Those are not beat up sessions. That is not like, let's sit down and talk about all the things you did wrong. It's what they did wrong, what they did right, it's like, okay, well, I see that you're kind of struggling in this area. What can we do to, is there anything that you need from me to help you better, execute this task, or whatever the case may be. And here's some suggestions I have based on yada, yada, yada. Okay, it needs to be very, very constructive, not like, this is what you're screwing up. Because that's terrible. That doesn't benefit anybody. And it just creates a ton of negative energy. But you need to be having them. They are important. Your employees need them. They need to know where they stand. They need to know, are they getting a raise anytime soon? They need to know these things, and they need to have if they are able to expect something, they feel so much more comfortable. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. But, if they can expect, like, okay, you're going to talk to me every 6 months. I know this is coming. Like, maybe I'll get a raise. Maybe I won't. Maybe, we can talk about how I can set myself up for one or something like that. Employees do so much better with that kind of structure. So having those structure and systems in place, really, that's how you automate it, because now you just know when you're going to have these conversations. And my note for employee reviews is if whoever you would be reviewing, you should have like what I've heard it referred to as like a manager's diary, or a leader's diary. I really don't use the term manager very often. So like a leader's diary, which means that you are constantly documenting the good and the bad of things that these employees are doing, so that when you actually go to sit down and have this review, that you can say like, oh, you did this and you nailed it, like that. And because if you're talking about 6 months, like, how are you going to remember? So many reviews are done based on the last like 30 days. So it's like, you waited a whole year to do my review, and you're really only talking to me about I could have been stellar the last 12 months, and in the 12th month, I had a bad month, and all I'm hearing about is everything I did wrong in the last 30 days. That is piss poor leadership. And I'm sorry to say it like that, but it is. It's piss poor leadership. You need to know, like, if you're going to do especially 12 months, you need to have a lot of notes so that you can go back and actually remember this stuff, because you're not going to remember. You're not. So I recommend every 6 months, and you should be keeping a diary. And I mean daily if you can, or like every time you think of it, they like this day, like, and if you notice that you're only writing negative crap, then you really need to be paying more attention, because I guarantee you they're doing a lot of good things. So, that's for yourself too. But, so keep that manager's diary, be reviewing your employees. You need to be having daily reports, especially with your finances, but having them create regular reports for every position and department in the company. Staying on top of your meetings, not making them bitch sessions, and appointing leadership. If you have a team, if you have little teams, have leadership over those teams. That way you only need to hold the one person accountable. And when you're looking for leadership, look for the people that they're already following to begin with. And don't be afraid to remove them from leadership if they're not working in that position. Okay, and that's a whole nother topic, but I'm just throwing it in your face. So I'm going to cut myself off here. This got a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but it's a big deal. And I hope you got something out of this. If you did, leave a comment, share, spread the information. I really want to help a lot of people. I know there's a lot of small business owners out there who are just, getting by day. So share this information with them. Comment, tell me if this is helping you. Tell me if there's anything that I can talk about that you need help with. I'd be more than happy to help you guys with anything that you're having trouble with. I'm really like a plethora of knowledge after running multi-million-dollar businesses. So I'm just trying to think of what it is that I can help you with, what can benefit you the most. So leave a comment, like, share. Love you guys. I will respond to anything you send me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.